Hello, Emily Farrington from childsplayactivities.com here. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about a technique I use day to day with Ayla and a technique that I learned during my childcare studies as I was learning all the childcare bits and bobs that I use within my parenting now. It's a technique called child-led play, and I will talk to you a little bit later about a rule that I use called the yes rule that helps me stay in line with child-led play and make sure that Ayla's allowed to express herself how she wants to, but in a safe environment. So child-led play, for people who haven't heard of the term before, is basically, think of it like being on a movie set and your child being the director and creating this movie around their ideas and the scene that they want to create, and we're almost just the support and the guidance and the assistance to let that run smoothly. So the aim with child-led play is to let your child express what they want to express using the resources they have, and taking away any of our perceptions of what we want them to gain from that activity, or what the toy is actually in our minds supposed to do. So for example, if Ayla's been taking cars off to nursery, she'll leave a few cars at nursery, then she'll drive one car back home, and that car will then go and do some work. What she's actually playing out is me taking her to nursery and then me going back home and doing some work. That's just her way of processing something that regularly happens to her, and it's something that she wants to work through in her own head. Maybe there's some anxiety around that, and that's just what she's working through. Now, I could turn around and say to her, we don't leave cars at nursery, come on, let's park them all up. But by doing that, I'm leading the play, and she's not actually working through whatever she needs to work through within her head and work out what she wants to achieve. Now, child-led play is amazing because it supports their needs, and they'll eventually learn that, we value their ideas and they have good ideas, and it makes them creative, they get better at problem solving, playing independently, and it builds their confidence as well. So you'll notice that as you do child-led play a little bit more, and it is something to practice, it's not an easy thing to do, but as we work through it and as we let them play a little bit more and gain that independence, they'll start playing alone. So we get a little bit more time to do bits and bobs that we need to do, but they'll get better at problem solving and their imagination will bloom, and you'll see these amazing ideas that they come up with within their play without any support from us, that they can work through by themselves through doing child-led play. So how do we do it? And like I said, it's something that we have to practice. It's not always easy, especially when in our minds we have something that we would really like our children to work through, whether that's to improve their literacy or their maths or physical development. But the truth is, children are hardwired to learn and fit in with society. If they need to learn to read to fit in, they will. If they need to learn to walk to fit in, they will learn to walk, as long as there's no additional needs there. And as a parent, we'll pick up on them things. But the focus today is child-led play, so I'll bring it back to that. They are hardwired to learn and fit in. So we can, provide an environment to help them and let them push themselves to the very limits of their ability. But if they're not interested in that at that point of time, they're not going to do it. So taking a step back from what we wanted them to gain from an activity is key with child-led play. And let's face it, if we try and get them to do something that they want to do and they're not interested in it, it's going to be met with frustration, and it's going to be met with absolutely no intent to learn anything, and no one's going to gain anything from that. So following their lead is how you're going to push them to the very limits of their play, and they'll do that naturally as well. So it's about, like I said, taking away any perception of what a toy should do or what we want to gain, and allowing them to explore it. And like with the car example, or if they're walking a horse on its head and stuff like that, they're going to work, like, they know essentially that a horse doesn't walk on its head, and if they don't know that, they will soon work it out. They don't need us to tell them that, but perhaps their horse is doing a handstand. Like Ayla finds it hilarious when her creatures walk on their heads. She knows they don't walk on their head really, but she thinks it's brilliant because they're walking along doing a handstand. So the yes rule, and it's something that helps keep me on track when I'm doing child-led play with Ayla, when I know that I need to work on it a little bit more. And the yes rule is letting Ayla do whatever she needs to do, saying yes to everything as long as it's safe, as long as no one's going to get hurt, nothing's going to get broken, and as long as we have time. If I have to say no, then I will work out a way how we can either do the activity a little bit later or how we can make the activity safer. So if it's, say, she's throwing her hard wooden blocks around, I'll take the blocks away and say, we don't throw them, we build towers or we do something creative, but you can throw this ball or you can throw this soft toy, because that's safe, and that way no one is going to get hurt and nothing is going to get broken, hopefully anyway. So it's about adapting and letting them try to lead the play, but us being there to make sure that it is safe and it's a safe environment for them to explore as well. Now, you might be thinking, but if I let my child lead their play, they're never going to learn anything. But like I said, children are hardwired to learn from society around them, and they will work it out. But when I set activities up, if I want to get Ayla to work a little bit more on her numeracy, say, I'll put numbers into the activity, and sometimes she'll interact with that and we gain, knowledge and learning from that. But sometimes she doesn't, and she totally ignores them. Now, when she starts to lose interest in whatever she's doing with that activity, I'll start to tinker quietly with the numbers. And sometimes that's enough to pique her interest, and she'll come and see what I'm doing. And we can work around it that way. We don't always get the best success from that, but it's a way of working it in and seeing if, you can pique their interest a little bit. So that's child-led play. It's something that you can start practicing from today. It's something that you can start working with. And like I said, it takes practice. We're not going to be perfect. Even I'm not perfect at it, and I've been doing it for years. So it's something that we have to work through, and sometimes I'm better at it. Some days I'm better at it than others. It kind of depends what mood I'm in. So work with it, be easy on yourself. Use the yes rule to help you and see where you can adapt it. And like I say, if you are particularly wanting to focus on an area, it might be that your child's not really interested in that. Follow their lead, and perhaps they're more interested in literacy at this point in time, and perhaps you can push them on the literacy side of things rather than the numeracy. And they'll cycle back eventually to the numeracy. Or you can set up the activities, and like I say, you can just have that within their environment so they can play with it when they're ready, or you can tinker with it and support them that way. Let me know if this video was helpful. Tick the subscribe, whichever side it's going to be, and the bell button if you'd like to have more content from me, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye.